So now you guys are over here. There you go. And should be same now. So
Okay.
you see this mouse? This one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, we can take our first moment to tell one of our issues was we saved doing Heroku to the very last minute. So some of our styling is appropriate to point out. The title bar is a little off. So we learned from that to kind of push Heroku in the beginning, to deploy, and then work as you go. But we learned the hard way. So sorry about that. So I'm just going to demo the app and let everyone chime in how we did it, or should we kind of
You want to do sign in?
kind of show how we did it?
Yeah.
Should we tell kind of what our roles are?
Yeah.
Okay. Our thing was getting it to work, and we feel super proud of ourselves because, like when someone else said, we learned so much on this project. So many things clicked. Like the MVC, just one day a light bulb went off and it was like, I get the moving parts, and that was super fun. So our design wasn't our first priority for future development. We saw your cool sites. We're like, man, theirs looks really good. So, not to down our project, but we're so happy it functioned and it works. But we have some polishing up. So, location is put in. We use Google API, geocode, and a Trails app to grab location. Search the enter button. Did I not? Oh, excuse me, guys.
You cleared it when you did it.
Oh, okay, excuse me, my bad. Bugs to be fixed. We did have the enter key working, but lost it in one of our merges. It's all good. Okay, so we used handlebars to pull up just a list of hikes near the location, and just pulled some of the attributes through. This button, we save the hike, and it switches over so you know that it's been saved. Our goal is to have, we do have the user login, but to have sessions where you can go back and have your list of saved hikes. But for right now, we're just displaying ones that people saved, like recent saved hikes. We have this cool little tab here that makes the site look super cool. Because look at all this functionality we have. It's a link. But it has driving directions, temperature, weather, current conditions, and everything. So
Yeah. So they had so this is the hiking project site that has they have several APIs, and so they offer like they offer widgets that do this rendering of the mapping, but when you try to import it into the handlebars, it wasn't lining up.
They were fighting.
Yeah, they're fine. I think it has to do with the asynchronous mode of these widgets and the handlebars. We had like the for each loop in handlebars. And so you put in Colorado or a location, it was showing up a totally different location. It wasn't matching up with the actual instance. So that's something that we learned that, okay, that's probably, you have to work more on the asynchronous mode with handlebars and the widgets that they offered. So it didn't go ahead. Now, if you're displaying just a single item, then it would work. But because we had it for each, that's probably key. But as Amy said, we're using the, so this is showing the recent searches. These are saved back to the database. And so here we're using handlebars again. So we're calling two external APIs to get data. So when you put in at the home screen, you put in a location. You can put in a zip code. You can put a city, state, location information, and the geocode for Google will give you back a latitude and longitude. Okay, and those two inputs go into the hiking project API because those are required. You have to give it a latitude and longitude, and then also you have a parameter for like within a 100-mile radius of this latitude and longitude, render back to you usable trails that you can hike. So we're dependent on two external APIs, and then we use the database to save. We have user sign-in registration, so we save back the database, and then we're saving the searches back to the render back to the screen. So we're getting data coming from an external API, rendering to the screen, and then the user can choose what hikes they want to save, and then render back. These here we have our own menu. You want to add to it?
No, that's good. we're gonna let Jonathan. Jonathan mastered the passport and did a fantastic job last minute getting everything to merge in. So we'll let him talk about the submission sheet.
So, like many of you, I use Passport.js. Some of you, I use the bprep method to hash the passport stored in a database. And then this is what it allows you to sign in page. So if you say we don't have any users, you can go to register as a user.
Ooh, Daniel. Yep.
And so this is a great form that we have for Passport. And then once you create the
Perfect. Expect our welcome email.
It'll take you back to here. One thing I haven't got working yet is the Express session or a web token to kind of keep you logged in, that know that you're the one using this. That'd be future development. So that way, when you do like search it and you save a hike, it saves it to your profile specifically, not just the whole database. So that's something still in progress. And then obviously, maybe create a logout button so you can log out of your session as well. But that's kind of how I use Passport and keep life together.
Can we click right into the I should be able to click into the URL, right? Is this a user thing?
Yes.
Somehow I'm not doing it. Anyway, if we pull up the API from our API for users, we're not displaying it, but we have admin implementation. I'm not getting it to. I think it's user error, but if we do API users, it will show back the JSON object. It's not something we're going to display everyone's information, but like for sending out emails and stuff, that's something we can use when you get the cookies working and stuff. But that's another thing. Some code we have in there.
Yeah, so we're using both API routes and HTML routes, and so we utilize both. So obviously on the API route, we can render back the JSON object of the data, and the HTML route is what we use to render back the search results coming back from the hiking API. But what you learn is like when you enter a location here, you have to go to a different web address on the browser window, and the HTML API, HTML routes has to make the call to the external API using Axios. That's what we use, Axios, and then it has to render back to the template engine. But we have to learn that when you put the location here, you have to automatically redirect the browser to enter the information at the top with the parameter for the location information.
Does that make sense? To answer your question earlier, we ran into the same problem, getting info from the back end with the Axios and then rendering it at the front. Trevor gave us a really cool piece of code, if you guys aren't familiar, window.location, and that's kind of what saved us from, we had the object there, but getting it to render with window.location, you can set the dashes with the info in between, and whatever they type in will make the call right from the browser, and it saved everything. Cool, right? So that was clinch. That's not the right word, but that was a game changer for us. We clapped. We really did. One of the cool things, sorry I'm talking a lot, but is our collaboration. We started out dividing, throwing in this, but we ended up just everyone working 100+ hours on Zoom, me and this guy.
Yeah.
And that was what we learned so much. It was like as if we were developers working on a project. We coded,
because we coded together. We debugged together and we coded together.
It was awesome. Everything went off. We saw other things and we learned so much. So that was awesome.
Right.
Everyone did a ton of work. Jonathan did the passport and merged last. Kristen put a lot of work into the PowerPoint and into some static pages that we didn't get to implement because the style broke with Heroku, and we just did it too last minute. She had a really nice hiking tips page and all the about us and the links and stuff. So everyone contributed.
So the hiking, it's called the Hiking Project. I don't know if it's sponsored by REI, but they have a huge presence on their website, the REI, and but they offer several different APIs. So this is a hiking, they have a hiking trail API, and they also have a biking one. What's the other two they offer?
Camping for future development.
Yeah, and so there are a lot of different options utilize their API, and it's totally free. there's no limit on number of polls for the API. Now the geocode, which is part of Google, I had to use my Google account and attach a billing account in order to use their API key.
So everyone use it a lot.
Yeah,
Aside.
I have unlimited polls,
Oh.
but it doesn't charge me. Just as long as it's attached to a billing account, you have unlimited polls on the Google Geo code API. Any questions? Yeah.
Well, you said that you had to, for the Google Maps API, where you have to call that and then use the response that would send the latitude, longitude.
Right,
and
right.
That would be what you would send.
That's a
to,
dependency, yeah.
That would send to the Trails API.
Yeah.
And then that would display on.
It's just a chained.
Yeah.
Chain sort of.
Yeah, so we had to chain, so there's two Axios calls, but we had to chain them because of the asynchronous mode. And so first is the geocode API, and then the then response. Then we call the Axios again inside the then response. So that's how you ensure the promise coming back, the callback of the geocode.
Okay. So
Yeah, because of it's asynchronous.
And there was
mode.
handlebars, right?
Oh, handlebars. So
We don't need to say anymore. We can probably leave it at that. That's it. We got it to work.
So handlebars, because we're getting back from the hiking project, it's not a really complex JSON object, but we have to learn how does handlebars read the JSON object. You have to pass it the correct keys, otherwise it's not going to work. And that was the other challenge is like what's the syntax? What's the correct path to this JSON object? So handlebars you can't really debug handlebars. I mean, we had one day. There is a way, but there's a ton of documentation for handlebars. And people say, use the helper. Like, where do I put the helper? They don't tell you where to put the helper in your code, but they give you code for helpers. Have you run into that? A lot of documentation. Yeah. What's that?
Right? Okay.
Oh, right. So that, I guess,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yes. Yeah, so we're saving the searches and also the users on our backend. Yeah, there's association. Yeah, so we kind of we didn't enforce the constraint. So there's like a can have many, but we didn't force it true. So we can have searches unassigned to a user, and but that's one of our future things we want to do it by the user. But there is a foreign key in the search table attached to the hiker ID, so that is built into it. But yeah, that's how we're using. But we had for future development, we could add delete a trail. We could probably do a modification. So we're using the post, and we're using a get. So we're doing two gets. So one's a get for the external API using Axios, and the other get is getting from the database the searches. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
All right, last one.